We're all here by divine appointment. Is there an answer? Oh, yes, there is an answer.
Hello and welcome to the Walter Schmid Show. My name is Walter Schmid, award-winning author on the book on super yacht sales. But now it is not the time to talk about super yachts. We're talking about a super important topic. And for this, I do have another guest, a special guest from the States, from LA. And there's nobody else than Darryl Marshak, over 40 years experience in the business of movies. And he started his first agency in 1975. I was not even 5 years by that time. So we talk about somebody who knows what he's talking about. Welcome very much, Darryl, here on the show. How are you?
I'm fine, Walter. Thank you for inviting me on this beautiful Sunday morning here in Los Angeles. Although we like to say Hollywood, California. But yes, I'm honored to be here to talk about Tested and my career and stuff like that.
Well, let's talk about your career a little bit first. I mean, most people don't know actually who you are, what you have done already, and there's so much to do. What are the most important points that you have went through in your life, and how have you ended up being so successful in this business and sustainable as well?
Well, let me give you the cliff notes, the short version. Basically, I started, in high school, I started a company called Starving Students, and we did moving, and it was a very, it appealed to all of the entertainment people. And in high school, I took a cinema class and became friends with the teacher. So he taught me how to move and taught me about movies, film, and manual labor. What a mixture. But anyway, I built the company very successful in 1975. I was told that I better become an agent because they stay on the plateau of the entertainment world. They look down over and see what's going on. So in 1975, I started with the Robert Lippman Company and handled James Mason, Paul Scofield, David Bowie, Alice Cooper, Lee J. Cobb, Ken Russell, Nick Rogue. Oh, just a plethora of people.
Well, it's a big journey. And then you ended up right now that you have somehow met the person, Glenn Radcliffe, and you are now also in the Tested movie. It sounds like that's something which is not really easy to explain to people, but how came you up with this person who talk about Tested and wants to make a movie? How does that happen?
Well, I would not lend my name to any old thing. Glenn is gifted, and his movie Tested, which I am proud to be a executive producer on, has a story which the impact of forgiveness comes out so strong that that's what we need today. We need the left to forgive the right and the right to forgive the left all around the world. We need to show a little coexistence and a little love and compassion. And Glenn has managed to get that out of a script and a story each week, in the typical dramatic fashion of a Columbo or, one of those, Starsky and Hutch's, one of the police story. You have a priest and a guy that committed an atrocity, working on spiritual maladies. So to me, that Tested has that essence that really works. That's, I could elaborate on, but I know you have a lot of questions, Walter.
Absolutely. There are so many movies that people want to produce out there in the market. And to me, is the question, why should Tested be a movie that will succeed?
Why should you? Let me say this, that you can invest in having fun and going and, being on a set, which you can do with us too. But, you're just going to look for you know, a rate on your investment right now. So what you get is twofold here. You get to waive that cause of togetherness.
Mhm.
And because it's a family film and it has the, you know, the, I don't want to say religious overtones, I want to say spiritual overtones that make it, you know, something of a faith-based vehicle. Also, it has the potential of being mainstream, kind of like, God, there was so many Little House on the Prairie and a lot of these Michael Landon shows of the 70s and 80s that
Mhm.
were a little faith-basedy, but they were also action and adventure. And so it has those two things, which make it a double win. You know, it's like you get to split your cards in Vegas. So that's why you should invest in this kind of movie, because you're not just investing in some action horror fantasy that may or may not work. You're investing in a beautiful cause that has the formula of a successful TV series.
As I heard as well from Glenn, after this first movie, there is a whole bunch of series already planned. So there is
Yes.
not only one movie, and it's not investment in a movie, it's actually investment in a whole economy, sort of, because the company can create so much things out of my mind beside the movie as well. So what is the
Do you have
risk?
Walter? Do you have Netflix?
No, I don't, but others have.
Okay. Well, what Netflix is doing and what their model is, and Hulu and all the platforms, is they're making limited series. And if they catch on, they do like 5 or 6 episodes. And if people like it, then they continue on. And Apple Plus TV's doing it, and Paramount Plus. So it's a winning formula. You know, we're doing the most commercial route possible, movie with a spin-off to a series.
Makes absolutely sense. Now, as the movie as such, with the roles that are in the movie, if you could choose out of all your A class actors that you know, which one would you put in which role in that movie that would perfectly fit, in your opinion?
You know, every movie I've ever cast, the people I thought should be in it never were in it. And other people got it. And I was so surprised. So I'm not going to answer that, not based on who, you know, I would like Leo and Brad Pitt in it, but it really has its own organic feel, you know. I'd like to see Glenn in it myself as the preacher, the
Yourself
preacher
as
that has to be forgiven.
I think it's a movie, a shift in the movie industry, what I realized based on also the tested content and its philosophy and the goal, that there is a whole shift going on in the movie industry. Do you see a huge chance?
There's never been so much production in our time. What happened was the pandemic stopped everything, but then when they started up again, they got down the protocols, and now they're releasing day and date, meaning Warner Brothers is releasing their top movie today called Suicide Squad, Mac on HBO Max and in the movie theaters. Now, movie theaters are going to have a rough time at it because of the Delta variant and COVID and all of that. It's going to take a while for, you know, we're going to see some people go down, like we saw that chain that recently went down. But regardless of that, people are hungry for content, and they'll watch it on their phone, their iPad, their computer, and their 85-inch TV, like I was talking to you on it. But it got too confusing. But the point is that we have these little theaters in our homes, and a lot of people look at DoorDash, and, you know, restaurants have found a way to, you know, survive, and people like staying at home, you know, forget about traffic.
Well, that's an advantage. But that's actually, that means also to me when I hear that, it's a little bit different information that I got. That's good news, because that means also that the place as such has huge potential as perhaps even never before, because all those different channels that the movie went out now and people can watch in it. Is that right?
Yeah, that's very much right. And they get to take more chances. And what they're finding is an Israeli series plays well in the United States, or
Mm-hmm.
a Norwegian series plays well, or an Italian series plays well. And so what they're doing now is they're hiring producers from each continent, like 000 on Prime, which is Amazon Prime. They
Mm-hmm.
have Italian, they have Spanish, Mexican, they have English and Italian, English, and did I say? Yeah, and one more language too. It might be a Serbian of such, but anyway, and it's so interesting because there is subtitles there for people, in each country, and Netflix has this new thing where they'll dub it for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're entering a new age, and movies are not going to go anywhere. If anything, drive-ins are going to come back.
So Tested is on a good place with that. And well, if it's about Tested, what would you say to, let's say, the regular people out there? What makes it for them very special to watch, to see that movie?
When you say regular people, if you're talking about the East and West Coast, they're a little bit more, they're looking for the King's speech or whatever. But when you're talking about America, you're talking about Touched by an Angel or Little House on the Prairie. You're looking for these Hallmark movies that, like the Christmas movies. You notice how many Christmas movies there are now? So they're looking for good feeling, and people really need it now too. But the added attraction for Tested as being one of those feel good movies and inspires you is it has the action element, the suspense, the drama.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it, you want to see it over and over again, which, it can be a standalone movie. But like I said, the movies are really being premiered on the platforms, and the platforms are egging you on to do 8 or 10 episodes. So, we'll get the one shot and, probably start right away into the others.
We look forward that really happens. I'm in the yachting business as well, and this will be also on the Super Yacht Radio. For those kind of people who own yachts, work on yachts, or deliver goods and materials to yacht builders, there is also the bridge that I can build, because I know that a lot of people in this area, in this market, they do have a lot of money and they want to do good things. It's not only about just having fun and having a yacht and having other luxury stuffs and a decent life. But I think there is also, that's my feeling, that a lot of those people, they will like not only the movie, but the opportunity that comes along in the movement based on the content and also what is behind the whole scene of what's going on in the movie. Now, in your perspective, what would you say to people who are in another level financially than the average citizen living in the States or everywhere in the world? What would be this message to those people?
It's hard to categorize people because, I'm one for dialogue movies like The King's Speech, but I love action movies. So, and I'm educated, and it doesn't mean I don't like mindless entertainment. So it's really hard to say what an educated person or someone who's just, kind of middle class working middle class, what they would like. But there are some people that want God to be brought into it, the soul, the spirit, you know, the kind of miracles that happen, you know, when people pray or meditate or help someone, you know, it's always magical. And there's not enough of that. Let's face that. Everything is, you know what it is. So I don't have to explain that.
Yeah.
So a test that has its heart into the soul and the forgiveness and the angst of being alone and making the turning point to forgive. Those are beautiful concepts that, you know, are written in the Bible and the Quran, and then, you know, in the Torah, and for God's sakes are preached all over from, you know, whatever, even Scientology, for God's, that thing about, you know, helping another person. But they want wholesome entertainment. And that's what Tested is. Wholesome entertainment. I looked at this project not only because it appealed to my heart and my soul, but I looked at it, how can this make money? And, you know, I thought of Michael Landon. Now, Michael Landon, for all of you folks that don't know who he is, he did Touched by an Angel, Little House on the Prairie. And, you know, I saw that he had that kind of nice, you know, there was some really action, crazy things going on Little House on the Prairie, you know, with bad guys and good guys. But I looked at this as a modern day kung fu or Columbo kind of movie.
And I believe that the content of Tested brings in a certain hope. So what is your thoughts about that?
Oh, like I said before, I think it's going to spread it. I think it's going to be more infectious than the COVID. You know, good things are talked about, you know, and when someone says, hey, did you watch anything? I watched the Action Killer, Space Monster. But, you know, people that really want, you know, quality entertainment, they like to see the animated, they like to, you know, sometimes they yearn for, you know, Law and Order. Law and Order is, in effect, a very good drama. And this has Law and Order with a spiritual side, with a religious side, with a humanitarian side. And I think that's beautiful. That's my thoughts.
Well, that's what I recognize also in other business areas, that the spiritual part, it's interesting enough to me that a lot of people, I never thought they would go into that direction or talk about this. But I believe that a lot of people who believe in something, have spiritual thoughts and actions in mind, they are still afraid to go out with it. So they hide back. And in the Tested movie, or with the Tested movie, I think there is an option that, or an opportunity that people starting also to get together more closely because of the movie, because they watch it and see what's happening. Beside everything else, that the Tested organization, which I would almost say is going to do good things in this world, which is absolutely needed. Yeah, definitely.
Well, when you go out and you know, start proselytizing spiritual beliefs, sometimes people, you know, they don't say it outright, but tacitly they say you're a heretic. And in their form of heretic, whether it's, you know, a guy with horns or it's, you know, just a mean person. And, you know, if you're not mainstream, they always get down on you. So the nice thing about movies and television, they get to tell the truth, and people somehow forgive it because it's in the box or it's on the screen, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that's where the contagious happens, you know. Look at all the fads that were started over, you know, I don't have them on the tip of my tongue, but, you know, all the things that, you know, the idioms and the words that we've all taken from movies and television, you know, and we all remember the good things, you know, life is beautiful and, you know, stuff like that. Whoever thought a musical in a concentration camp would work, you know.
Yeah, well, that's what people realize. Also, that's something is that I have in my experience as well. the bad things, when I went through bad things, I kept the good things in mind and I remembered the good things. But sometimes I needed to go through not hell, but sort of going through a mess to see, okay, what's going on and how can I deal with it, and seeing the light at the other end of the tunnel. And with Tested, I have just a feeling that the movie as such brings in a lot of light, but in an entertaining way that people can get it, because I believe we need to take the people where they are right now, take them on their hands sort of, and bring them to the way they need to go. That's my thought. What's your thoughts about that?
Well, yeah, I don't think they have to go kicking and screaming. I think you want to lure them. You know, it's based on attraction rather than promotion. That's a 12-step saying, based on attraction rather than promotion. And this thing attracts you because not only does it have the, you know, the intrigue and the drama to hold you, you know, like the Law and Order stuff, but it's dealing on a humanitarian, spiritual, semi-religious basis. And if that's too much to handle, then I suggest you go watch, I don't know, Roseanne or something.
To prepare yourself and then getting to the test, right?
Right.
Yeah, awesome. Well, that's a lot of information for the listeners and viewers to regurgitate somehow as well, to get it. And I think it's going to be time now to make a break for those people. But I want to give you the last words, that if you have anything to say to the people out there, then please go ahead.
Well, I just want to say that, you know, we live in a world today which is content. You know, you go from TikTok to the major studios to YouTube. Everyone's making content. And a lot of it, not to judge it, is just emptiness. I think we have to have more of a higher consciousness when we make content. And I think that's what Tested has. And that's why I have only lent my name to a couple of movies, and this is one. And I plan to make sure that it manifests what it professes to be.
Thank you very much for these very important, thoughtful words, and also for the interview and your time being here.
Oh, my pleasure, Walter.
Goodbye to all your listeners and viewers. That was the Walter Schmid Show with Darryl Marshak, and about the Tested movie. And looking forward that we see a lot more coming up. And also that our consciousness minds are growing constantly day by day. Take care, stay safe, and see you on the next show.
You can choose light or you can choose darkness. The choice